Higher, 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 higher. Maybe we need to go to X space. We need to have our own X space. Yeah, I think it might be wise to have an X space, by the way. There's a point there. Church X space, prophetically led X space, an X space of intercessors, an X space of church people. So we talk and we have a discussion. So actually right there, you know, I've been considering about that. I've been considering that rather. So yeah, I mean, this session is purely questions and answers. You want to say something, you want to interact. This is a church space, so if you do try to bring in something that's not right, then we would have to stop you. I hope I'll be able to control that and know how to handle that. Yeah, so if you want to come on camera, and obviously this is public, so you need to know this is public, so you will be seen, and you know, you will be heard. Then you can go ahead, whether it's a question you want to ask, you can also type your questions. Yeah, so I want to give us 30 minutes of that, then I go and read. So any questions, any clarifications, anything you want to share, yeah, so it's an interactive session, so we are open. Oh, yes. Once again, for those of you joining, this is an interactive session, so it's you led. It's going to be you led, not me led. I assume it's necessary. It's an opportunity I'm giving. Remember, it doesn't have to be about the government. Ideally, actually, this should be just about things to do with the Word of God and things to do with being a Christian, or something you'd like me to just teach on. And then we go. So yeah, anyone who wants to share, kama hakuna semina hang up nakimbia. So yeah, that's what this session is. Incidentally, as we have that talk, green tea, there's a green tea that I sell. Yeah, there's a green tea that I sell. So if you want to be able to actually join in and you know, you're looking for a business idea and all those things, I can take you through that. Yeah, but there's a green tea that I sell which is amazing. It's got very, very important qualities. So I'm waiting for someone to ask questions. This is nafanya marketing sai. Yeah, so you can talk to me. Yeah, we can have an X space. Yeah, we can organize for an X space. I think we need to do that. I think that's what we need to do next. Yeah, so I'll find out about that and then I'll announce our X space. And I think we need to start having them so that you know, the Gen Zs are busy strategizing. We need to strategize as believers and as children of God and pray together and ask the Lord and drive this transition as well. In a godly manner, of course. So what is our role as Christians? Yeah, so, and hopefully it will be the interaction between the Gen Zs and the Gen Xs and the boomers, and we'll all come together. So the green tea that I sell has anti-cancer abilities, and then it also has it helps with weight loss. So if you're struggling with things to do with weight loss, it helps with weight loss. In fact, somebody was saying maybe it should be called slimming tea. Since I started taking it, actually I was exercising and doing everything. I got into perimenopause and my hormones were raging and just going crazy as there was a transition, you know, at the age of 45. And somehow I'd put on a lot of weight, and this was now COVID time and all that. And no matter how much exercise I was trying to get in, I wasn't able to exercise and get in that exercise. So everything I was doing, I wasn't quite, you know, managing my appetite. I wasn't, my health wasn't doing well anyway, generally. So when someone introduced me to this green tea, I started taking it. And within 6 months, I had actually lost 12 kgs. And I wasn't exercising in a particularly different way. And right now, as we speak, I've not been able to exercise per se for a while, but I needed to keep my weight down to avoid diseases related to weight gain. And also, I was, so two reasons. So one is diseases, and the second one is the issue of my clothes were not fitting and I'm not getting new clothes. So as I've been taking the green tea, I've just realized my weight has just sustained at the same place. Of course, you know, I just have 1 meal a day. Typically, I try not to eat more than 1 meal a day, but when we are not fasting, I can do a meal and then maybe do some fruits here and there and all that. But somehow it's been very, very helpful. So yeah, yes. So if you want to start your business or you want to buy green tea, talk to me. Yeah, but literally, I think the easiest thing for me would be to sell it to people and then they sell it to others. Yeah, it's very affordable, very fantastic, real, authentic green tea. Yeah. So Margaret is saying, thanks, Apostle. I have been thinking of something that is really causing church divisions about law and grace. I have heard of even some almost disregarding the Old Testament. Yeah. Those are the issues. It's literally we are moving towards one church, as in everything, one religion. Let me put it that way, because we are finding ourselves in a position where it's really getting to us that we cannot agree based on doctrinal differences, even though we are using the same Bible. Most of us, though the Catholics do have their own Bible, but most Catholics just use the normal Bible. Yeah. So Liz says, having all this information, how then do we pray for the current regime? Okay, I think I've already answered that question, Liz. I've been answering it. And then Gerald, if now we experience World War III, what should you carry ready to go backpack? 3 months food. No, we're not going to have World War III. Yeah, we're not having World War III. We're not heading there. We refuse it in Jesus' name. I do believe... and this is not something I've specifically asked God, but I believe that the last war would be this Armageddon war. I don't believe we're going to go into World War III. Nothing is pointing in that direction. The United Nations has been able to do a very good job with that regard, because that's the focus, and controlling the nations that are expected that they can cause issues. There's been concern about China and eyeing China and watching China and being careful about it, but it is one of the veto powers. So they've been able to manage it in that way, but they've had some concerns. Yeah, but another world war, no. It's the international public law has grown very much. There's been a lot of investment there to ensure that there are so many different facets to stop another world war from happening. Because remember, when the First World War happened, the League of Nations was started in order to help those who are displaced, but they focused on Europe. So it was brought up so that then it could help with with restoring people who are IDPs. Let me say internally displaced people in Europe region. That were affected by the war. So that's one of the reasons it failed. The second reason it failed was because it was supposed to stop another world war. So once the Germans came in and we had another world war, then that's why the League of Nations were disbanded because of those two reasons. Man, my lecturers would be so well done. I had a very strong A, by the way, in public international law. It seems like it's one of my strong areas. Yeah, I had like 84%. And getting that in law is very, very hard. So it's a field I could actually go into in my master's. So yeah, there's been a lot in terms of public international law that has been put in. Very specifically, they've gone into the area of trade and focus on trade. But of course, when it comes to trade, then you want to be looking at a WTO, because what America has done is that they've anticipated things and then tried to lead things. And then when people were fighting, then they stayed away. When people were fighting in the First World War, they stayed away so that they could come and rescue people. And that's how the World Bank came in as a reconstruction bank. That's what it was being called. And that's how they began to lend to nations, because nations had been destroyed in war. So that's how they became lenders. That's how they came in. It was America. That's why I tell you, when you see World Bank is America and America is World Bank. So that's how they came in. So when you look at that, so America, when it comes to trade, you see that they've got the arm of WTO, and it's just really, really been punitive and really controlling things, and that's what I'm now studying right now in terms of trade. Yeah, so those are the things you need to note. Yeah. So is it possible to have a forum for the Sozo Church Law Group to collect views from other citizens? About what? Sorry. To collect views about what? Debs, you need to be specific about what we're collecting views. Do I bring you on video? Let me see if I even know how to do it. Debs, I don't know if you'll want to come on video. Debs Mwero. I think you have to request me. and I've given permission for you to request me. So there's no place for searching. Debs. You're not on the list. So I have oh, you are actually. So let me add you. Send invitation. Then you can ask your question. So you can ask your question. Debs, I've sent you an invite. So all you need to do is agree to get on the video. I don't know if you can stop your camera if you don't want to be seen, but it doesn't look like I can see your face or anything like that. So then you can ask your question. It sounds like you have a good question. What views do you want us to collect? What views do you want Sozo Church of God to collect? Okay. And then Jackson says, what's your take and counsel on the constant attacks of the prophets and the prophetic gift and ministers in our nation? All right. All right,
You
Debs.
can hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Karibu.
Yeah. Thank you. Mine is basically, you see, we are having a lot of, people want a lot of changes. And one of the ways that change can come about is if people know what tools they have at hand. So like what you talked about, you have a team that goes through the bills. It can be people come and, we have the lawyers tell us what this means in legalese, that is in the legal terms.
Mm-hmm.
And then people can also see how they have how they can input. For instance, like the finance bill, accountants can come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
So they can tell us if this happens, this affects this affects that, and then people can be able to see the bigger picture. And not just even in terms of bills, but even in terms of the law, the constitution.
Okay.
Like what we're seeing now, these appointments that have been made, do people even know that some of them cannot come back? The constitution already tells we know what the constitution has. So yes, that's my question. Because you already have that, there are people who don't have anywhere to like congregate. It's just like a church. So there are churches you find that they do their evangelistic ministries going towards and seeing, oh, there are people here who are poor, cannot afford, then they try and see how to help them, whether connecting them directly or indirectly. That's
okay.
My question.
That's a fantastic question. So you're just asking us to go a bit further so that then, yes, there's this platform that we are using, but how do we then get to the place where we become a voice that is loud enough in actually doing education? So that then people can participate, they understand what is their role, what is required of you and all that, yeah? And what can you do about it and what are you looking at? So the information we have, right now we are giving it maybe to 200 people or 100 people. What is 100 people out of 52 million people, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right, so I'm thinking X Spaces might probably be the place for that. Now that the Gen Zs have shown us how to use X Spaces, then we begin to make sure that we circulate those X Spaces, and maybe so that then we just have a place where we are actually bringing people in. By the way, with the finance bill, I did try to get an accountant in to help us and to take us through. But one of the things I've also found out is we need volunteers. And having volunteers can be very, very hard. So that's why I'm also asking professionals to volunteer these things, so that then, because of capacity, the issue of capacity. So I only had one person, and in the end, we didn't have it because he wasn't available any other day, and there was a miscommunication on the day he was to be available. So those are some of the challenges we have. So I don't know, which profession are you in yourself?
Myself, I am, let's say, in the insurance industry.
Okay.
But I think it's important it's like if I wanted a construction, maybe a foreman or someone who builds, it is easy for anyone here, even on this platform, to refer people and ask them. The only thing, it's just the only thing is that people keep saying, you must be paid, that kind of talk without really having seen the bigger picture. So I think we can refer. It's just a matter of, you never know. You may refer, and the person that you refer actually has an interest in terms of public sensitization. Who knows? Or maybe they are passionate about their career in terms of finance and whatnot. and they can easily tell people, explain to people, this is what happens.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me look at the issue, the area of X space, because I think what now you're suggesting we are looking at as Christians, how do we come together as one, as the body of Christ? We come together as one. The Muslims have clearly been doing it, and they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And you know, for them, they are very strategic. That's why you're finding people like Duale coming back. Because the Muslims have one standard. They repeat again, for our interest, we're asking you for nothing else, but Duale must take care of security. He must be in charge
Yeah.
of security. He must be in charge of security. I imagine the reason for that is because they already know that they're harassed in the area of security. And of course, they know why they're harassed, so with some good reason in some cases, but a number of times it's with bad reason. But of course, for us, our concern is if we have a Muslim in charge of security in Kenya, and we know very well we have challenges with Somalia, and we have challenges with Sudan and the Islamic area, what is the risk and what is the chance that they are going to give each other the brother thing and give each other IDs and all those things? So that's a concern that now for us guys, we end up having. In terms of, yes, you say you're a Muslim. And Muslims very often, they are Muslim before they are Kenyan. They are Muslim before they are anything else. Unlike us who are Kenyan and then now, yeah, these are the things. Because bottom line, at the end of the day, we have to protect Kenya. So very often people worry that it doesn't have anything else. So Muslims have been working with the Abuja Declaration. So how do we as the pastors and how do we as the church come together as Christians, the body of Christ? But then we have quite a number of platforms that have that. So I'm in a group called Katiba in the Law. So I could consult them also. And then, of course, there's Kenya Christian Professionals, whatever. I could talk to them and then we see. Because I think the thing that God has given me favor with is the online. Because a lot of them are not using online. The church has not been very good with understanding how to use the online space. I think we need to just improve on that. So I get you. I get you, and you're right on. I was reading that you have hit the point. And then we begin also the aspect of referrals and all those things. I agree, completely agree. So that then even with networking and all that, we're able to network and give each other business as well. And you know that the
True.
person will perform. Yeah. Bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And well done on being courageous. I think a lot of people want to come up and like, ah! Yeah, well done. Well done. You've got a good mind. Well done. Good job.
Okay.
So you can get out, because if I remove you, then it will be like I'm blocking you.
Okay.
So
I'll just leave the broadcast.
I don't even know. I've never like joined. I just know if I remove you, it's
Okay,
like,
good.
yeah, because when I remove it saying change to viewer, I don't even know what it's saying. Yeah. All right. She's out. Okay. Let me see if there's anybody else. All right. So Jackson is asking about persecution. Jackson, persecution is normal. Persecution is normal. I mean, Jesus said we'll be persecuted. In fact, the Bible tells us and promises us that a time will come that some people will even persecute us, and then those persecuting us will even think that they're doing the work of God. So persecution is normal, because that's what you're talking about. It's persecution, yeah? But there's been a lot of misconduct. There's been a lot of false prophets and all that. So for me, I understand from a perspective of there's just been too much false prophecy. There's been too much of cons and all that. Yeah, so for me, I just stick to my lane and just keep on going and serving the Lord and honoring the Lord. It's hard, it's painful, especially if you're honest and you're true. It would be painful, and I can hear you as a congregant, when you get upset and you get hurt. But some of the things is just things like what you've been doing. Notice in 2000, if I look at 2013, 2017, if you compare how I was dealt with, like maybe say when I was on broadcast for the first time with the elections on broadcast, how I was being dealt with and how I was being insulted, and basically just being, dealt with very badly, and you compare later on what has happened, it's very different. People are very afraid to come on this platform most of the time to insult me. So between me blocking them and you guys actually, standing up and saying, please go do your homework, go check and all that, they are very afraid. Because bullies normally will not want someone to defend. So just speak up. I remember yesterday, because also I think we're looking for action. What can we do? So yesterday I was on a platform where I noticed that the women, it's a women's platform, and I noticed a conclusion that had said that Dr. Wahome Ngari is a fake, and I don't know what, and about vaccines. So I asked the Lord, what do I do? Because they'd really spoken against him. So I just replied, and I spoke, and I said, I want to just make it very clear, Dr. Wahome saved my mother's life, you know, at this and this time, and this is what he did, and this is a true factor of this and that and the other, and this is what I've been finding. And I was very surprised. I think I get very surprised when I find that when I speak, a lot of people by now seem to have gotten to know me. So a lot of times, plus the favor of the Lord, and I guess also just using facts and arguing in an intellectual manner, because I find that the platform changes. Because as I did that, then it also gave others the courage to come up and speak and to just speak up, because they were trying to shut him down and to make it look like Wahomengari is a nutcase, because he's been correcting the World Health Organization, and you know, there are a lot of scandals that are happening with these international organizations, and they're just doing very, very unscrupulous and wrong things. You know, for example, one of the things I'm just astounded to have noted is that there's actually something that you can do if you've been told you have cancer, and that there's nothing the doctors can do. And this you would need to check with your doctor. But there's you take a flat teaspoon of Magadi soda, yeah, Magadi soda. So take a, which is sodium bicarbonate. Go and check, because you know there's an issue of baking powder versus. So make sure it says Magadi soda, the one we use for kakina kahorera and those things, Magadi soda. So a half teaspoon. Please note we have a place in Kenya for mining Magadi soda. So a half, as in a flat teaspoon, not tablespoon, a flat tablespoon. So if someone is not undergoing treatment, they've been told by the doctor there's nothing they can do. What's the risk? I mean, they've been told they're going to die. They're waiting to die. What is the risk in this? Yeah, there's nothing. The worst case is that they die. Yeah, try it, because I've been guided by 2 people who have actually done this thing. One has had breast cancer, or was diagnosed with, was it breast cancer? Yes, breast cancer. And she's been alive for 10 years now. The second one was diagnosed with a different kind of cancer. It's a man, and very poor, could not afford chemo. And he was told to do the same thing. And, you know, it's been 3 years for him. And he's not died, even though they were told it's stage 4 and all that. And for one, and I actually should probably find the person. For one, they actually were told, because it was the one for men. What's this cancer for men called? Anyway, yeah, the one for men anyway. So the one that you're told to remove it. Otherwise, you know, and men think that if you remove it, it would affect erectile dysfunction. You know that one. So, and you're supposed to have examinations as men, and it's done from the rectum. So anyway, I won't even be able to check your prostate. Thank you. So the other one had prostate cancer. He was very sick. The prostate had enlarged so much, it was even blocking the ability to susu, yeah. So they were told at Eldoret Referral Hospital, or Moi Referral Hospital, one of them, I don't know if it's the same name, but that's the name that I'm remembering. They were told that they are very sick, it's cancer, it's in the last stage, and they need to go and then take some medications. Then once things improve, then they were to come back after a month, so that then they can have surgery. So they went and they started this concoction I'm telling you about. And after a month, when they went, they stayed for a month, then they were able to pee, they were not having issues, they stayed for another month. So after 3 months is when they decided to go back, so that then they can be checked, and then they decide that, you know, so that then they can just have this surgery, even though they didn't want the surgery. But when the doctors did the checks, and it could be 6 months, I don't to check. And when the doctor checked, they said, what did you do? What treatment did you go for? What did you do? So it's okay, I'll come back to the Magadi soda. So they went back, and the doctor said to them, I don't know what you've been doing, but me, I'm not seeing any growth or tumor. So whatever you're doing, go back and do it. So you take Magadi soda, you take a half cup of warm water. You take Magadi soda, a flat teaspoon of Magadi soda. Don't do tablespoon, it's too much. A flat teaspoon of Magadi soda, and then you take a full teaspoon of molasses. Okay, and please, when you're buying your molasses, be careful to buy the proper molasses, the raw molasses, the real molasses, not the imported ones that have GMO and all those things. So a teaspoon of molasses, a tablespoon of a teaspoon of molasses molasses, a full teaspoon of molasses, and a teaspoon. Oh, I need to check what it is. But I'd shared it. I'd shared it here on comments and all that. So you put that together in warm water, and then you put some lime, or lemon or lime, whichever. That citrus, a small fruit called lemon, and then there's lime as well. And you put what would be like 2 of them, 2 teaspoons. You put it in, and you just need. So you're supposed to take that. So in the, I'm forgetting this thing. I don't know if I'll go off, so I have to check it. Hello? I've been muted all this time. Oh, la, 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 la. Yeah, sorry. So, half glass of warm water, all right? Adikeni, half glass of warm water. And then 1 flat teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. 1 flat teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And then 1 teaspoon of molasses, okay? A teaspoon of molasses. And then I've put it in the comments as well. And then a half or more teaspoon of lemon. Obviously, this is not treatment. Cancer does not have a cure other than Jesus Christ. But, and then you take it half an hour before you take your breakfast. So literally time it. If you're a cancer patient, you do need to take this very seriously in terms of timings and all that. So you time it. If you're under other medication, you do need to talk to your doctor about those things and how it interacts with other medication, yeah? So you half an hour before you have your breakfast, you take it. And then you from at half an hour after that period, then you can eat your food. And then at night, after you've eaten, half an hour after you have eaten your dinner, then you take that remedy and that whatever, yeah. So sorry, Jessica, and thank you for telling me. Miss Naona too. You're muted. You're muted. Yeah, so you can hear me. Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so imagine it to come at stop. So yes, I was actually muted, and it seems when I went to look for the remedy so that I quote it correctly, then I ended up being muted. So if this is something that you can take just also as a prevention, especially for those of you who took the COVID jab, please note the danger and just try and take this, even if it's, if you did take the jab and you're not under any other medications, you might want to take, even if it's early in the morning before you have your breakfast, that you have this remedy. And then if you're going to have dinner at night, you may want to take it in the evening, but I don't think you need to do it if you do not have, you know, the disease. So what you're doing, if you're taking it as prevention, for me, I take it from time to time. So what is the explanation for this? When I've asked doctors what it is, what is the explanation for this? The explanation for this is that apparently science shows that cancer comes as a result of an acidic environment in the body. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, so I don't know whether it's conclusive or inconclusive, but that's what scientists say. So what you're trying to do with this is you are trying to alkalinize your body. That's what you're doing. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about the COVID jab, sorry. So, yeah, I already talked about it. I already warned you. I told you not to take it. You all call me an anti-vaxxer. I shut up and minded my own business. So if you've taken it, you need to prevent this because you are at risk. Yes. So anyway, so how does this thing make you go mute when you're giving us recipes? I know, right? No, but you know, it's also these conspiracy things as well. I'm even surprised they are letting me broadcast this, because this New World Order thing, part of what they've done is that they've taken these kind of platforms. But right now, they're on, I think they're on things to do with, they were channeled with the COVID jab. Remember, there's a time you could not talk about the COVID jab, but they would block you. So I could not. So what I tried to do is those who could listen, I'll do offline, and then I'll do Telegram, you know, so those things. Yeah, so it's part of control. And that's why as Christians we are caught, you know, we're caught hands down, not pants down. The correct English terminology is we are caught hands down. Our journalists have said pants down, but the correct English terminology is you're caught hands down. Let me tell you, and I want to repeat this. The Garden of Eden had everything, and food is medicine. Okay, so one of the areas I've had to really study is the area of food and diet. And one of the things I'll tell you, if you're above the age of 40 years old, what are you doing eating 3 meals a day? You see, this is how we make ourselves sick. Why eating 3 meals a day? You're not, you don't have a condition, you don't have any sickness. At most, you're supposed to eat 2 meals a day. So you can have your breakfast if you want to have your breakfast, yes. But there are things you must do and take before your breakfast if you're above the age of 40. But ideally for everybody, there are certain things that you need to take to cleanse your gut and all that. The basics are even just things like lemon in water. What you're doing is you're alkalinizing your body. You're removing the toxin of the night. Yeah. So those things you hear people saying, and then you say, yeah. Then after that, you move into, by the time you're taking your breakfast, you don't just go into breakfast. You don't. No matter the age, no matter what it is, you don't just jump into breakfast. And especially in our day and age, you need to prepare the gut. Remember, breakfast means you've been asleep, you are not eating. So the first meal, you're breaking a fast because at night you are fasting. Imagine God in his amazing and astoundingness, he did it such that when we sleep at night under the cover of darkness, part of what we're doing is that we are fasting. So that you're forced to fast. I'm being glad to me, I fast. Yes. When you fast at night because you're asleep. Okay. So these are medical things. And by this, some of the things I've been meaning to begin to teach. Some of the sicknesses we are having is because of food. What you put inside your gut, the answer is in your gut. The answer is in your gut. The answer is also in your lifestyle. This chair has become a problem. You saw me the other day standing up. I had a backache. I had to stretch and all that. I have my watch. My smartwatch tells me to stand every 1 hour. I must stand for at least a minute. I must stand for at least a minute. You know, mobility, movement and all that. I have an 80-year-old mother. And let me tell you, I kept thinking one day we'll know whether my mother's fascination with movement was a good thing or a bad thing. You should see my mom. One of the reasons I was under so much pressure to lose weight was because I was bigger than my mother. We're taking photos and my mother has a figure and I don't. I'm like, what? And then of course my mother was, hey, you become big. You become big. Oh, but no, you know. And you're like, oh, guy, this is my mom. So literally in our home, by the way, you cannot just be putting on weight. You will be put under pressure because of lifestyle-related conditions. Yeah, so it's very, very important. So you missed the recipe. It's on the comments, Beth. It's on the comments. Just go up and there's a comment for Sozo Church of God. Yeah, you don't need to replay the video. I've already put it in the comments, so you can copy it and paste it onto your notes. So in terms of health and gut, those are not negotiations and all that. When we're talking about GMO, you guys mmeacha kuuliza swali. This is supposed to be an interactive session. It's supposed to be an interactive session. Let me see. There's someone who wants to come on, I think. Oh no, Debs had already come on. Yeah, so if you want to come on, you just come on and whatever. It's supposed to be interactive. On the 23rd. When is the 23rd? Machakos. Machakos High Court. I believe it's the High Court. Yeah? Machakos High Court. We need to go there. 23rd is Kugani. We need to show up. You know, by the way, judges are whatever. Judges are human beings. So if they see this thing is affecting public interest, we show up with our GMO, anti-GMO, whatever, petitions and all that. So it's in Machakos High Court. I've not been there. When is 23rd? When is today? Okay, I don't know. 20th, 20th. Today is 20th. Tomorrow is 21st. Monday 20. So Tuesday. Tuesday we need to be in Machakos. And I want to tell you we need to be so that I'm there, but I may not be there because I'm in exam season. But if you are available and able to be there, please, 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 Machakos. We need to be in Machakos. Don't come because I'm telling you to be there. I don't want to be, you know, like these socialites who tell you, let's go, let's be there. And I'm not going to be there. I'm not 100% sure I'll be there. But, you know, if I was not doing exams, I would be there. And I might actually have to just be there with my exam things and all that waiting. But anyway, we need to go to, and Gen Z, please listen to me. We need to be there. 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 Machakos, I believe it's a high court in Machakos, but anyway, the courts, they're all there. They're together. They're around there. We need a presence of Kenyans outside Machakos because, 24th, Jessica, thank you. It must be in the high court, right? Because it's about laws. Because because to do with human rights and all that, I imagine it's a high court. So it's 24th. It's 24th. 24th is Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I'm actually going to have to change my schedule and organize myself so that on Wednesday I'm outside the high court, because I know if I don't mobilize, I'm not there, then what would I come out? I don't even know. But we need to be there. So the GMO case on the 24th of July, Jessica, is it in the high court in Machakos? Because I think they have a high court in Machakos. I believe they do. Yeah. So, and a case like a GMO case cannot, because these are things to do with the constitution and public participation and stuff. Yes. So it has to be the high court. So yes, inakaa tunaenda kutembea Machakos. We need to be there, and I need to mobilize my friends from Machakos. But if you can come, if you can take a day off, the morning really, we just go to Machakos. We're not going to be tear gas. Don't be afraid. There's not going to be any issue. We just need to show our presence there, and we need to be right there at the Machakos High Court on the 24th of July. We need to be there at 9 a.m. on the 24th of July. Why do we need to be there? Because there is a petition against the approval of GMOs. Okay, genetically modified foods. Let me tell you, if you do not know about this thing yet, and its relationship with cancer and its relationship with controlling, security, food security, you might want to just look at that issue if you don't understand what it's about. In India, it was so serious in India. One of the things that they didn't, okay, what I'll do, I need to go and read. I also need to end the broadcast, and I also don't need people to miss the broadcast thinking that it's titled an interactive session, and then now they leave it alone. So, all right, so Marion is saying we need to confirm whether the judgment, is it a judgment that's being made? They're making the judgment, huh? But Marion, even if they are virtual, just the presence outside, because part of what we're trying to do is for the judges as they make their decisions. In fact, we probably need to begin to occupy as early as Monday, because what we need the courts to be aware of is that Kenyans are paying attention. So that they're not thinking that we are caught up in the finance bill, because these are some of the things that people like Bill Gates are trying to bring in, things to do with GMO. And what it is to control seeds. It's a business, so that then you have to buy seeds from them. But the problem with those seeds is that they are not natural seeds. So what happened in India is that in India, we get the link, but also we also can have a physical presence outside the court, so that they're aware that this is an emotive issue, it's a situation, and judges, nobody will not make a decision against the Kenyans if they feel that majority of Kenyans are actually refusing it. So we need to, they're human beings. They're human beings at the end of the day. So we need to influence that judgment, whatever it is. So those are the things we need to look at. So we need to pay attention to that. Jessica, we need to look out for that. Is it going to be virtual? Is it going to be, physical? But also how many people are going to show up outside Machakos as early as, Machakos High Court as early as, because we need to be there as early as in it needs to be a statement and it needs to be stated, and Gen Z need to go there. It needs to be very, very clear, because judges will not make a judgment that will cause the nation to burn. They normally don't do that. They are not supposed to do that because it's also a public participation issue. There had already been a judgment declaring that GMOs were illegal. So that's what's being used. That's what's going on. And we need to get involved. Yeah. So what happened in India is that there's a woman, and I need to find that video. Somebody find me that video. There's a video of a woman in India, a professor, I think, who, when GMOs were being introduced in India, she warned, and they didn't listen. So she's a doctor, I think, if I remember well, or a research scientist. So what she did together with a few people is that they went and they got their seeds, their local seeds, and they went and they got them, and they hid them. So remember, right now there's already a law that is not allowing us to share seeds and all that. So if you're a farmer, one of the things you want to do is begin to hide your seeds, begin to keep them, because they're trying to stop them. But then remember also with GMO, even if you have your normal seeds, because of pollination, normally the bee will move from this seed, this flower to your flower, and so that cross-pollination aspect tends to defile the real seed. So those are some of the dangers. So in India, these people, because their parliament was not listening, in spite of what they were saying, they went ahead and they took their seeds, their local seeds, and their real true seeds as God given. They hid them somewhere inside a seed bank. They hid it somewhere. And then they gave it time, and then the GMOs began to affect people, and the proof began to come up because people were starting to suddenly have tumors. They were suddenly having all sorts of sicknesses, and then the farmers were starting to struggle because they had to buy those seeds. Remember, what the part of the way GMO works is you cannot put it back in the ground. Once you harvest, you cannot dry your maize and then put it back in the ground. You cannot take your avocado and then you put it in the sun, and then once it dries and it's ready, you put it again in the ground and it begins to grow, because that's what God wanted. So seed is free according to God and how God put it. But some unscrupulous scientists, some wicked people, including Bill Gates, want to turn the whole nation, the nations of the world, into the GMO aspect. So GMO with two ways. One is that it affects, so it's genetically modified. So it has an effect of causing cancers and all sorts of bad diseases. So it's population control partly. And then the second part is the aspect of business and selling things, so that then it's control of food and all that. And it's a business of somebody. Let me tell you, the end times and the wickedness in the end times, this is what's going on. Even with the COVID jab, these were the things. People are just making money. In Africa, we were told that you cannot, whatever, you don't need the jab. The sun is helping. The infections were not as many. Nothing to be afraid of. We tried to speak up. We could not, do this, because then would always be stopped whenever you try to speak about it, whenever you try to say. And I need to be sensitive, and I am being sensitive, because my dad died of COVID, and when we were there, and he hadn't taken the jab. It's not me who had told him not to take it. He had decided he's not taking it. I personally, God had told me it is not safe, so we're in agreement on that. But in that COVID ward, we had 11 people in the ICU who were jabbed, and they were just as sick as my dad, and they were also dying anyway, because it's a virus at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, what are we finding out? We are finding out that quite a number of people, there are serious cases where all of a sudden people are being found to be having cancer. Cancer is in stage 4. You wonder about it. It happened to my niece. She was perfectly fine, 30-year-old girl, gorgeous girl, sweet girl. And she had a tumor in her stomach, and she didn't even know she had it in her stomach. My cousins, the parents, are medics, and they have her checked. She's out of the country, so the best of treatment, and she's told by the doctors there's nothing they can do. And the only thing you can come back to is to be able to look at, was she jabbed? Because how do you explain it? There's no explanation for it. And those are the things that are happening. So we've got to be able, thank you so much. So the woman that warned about GMO, 10 years ago in India. Okay, thank you, Rita. If you have my WhatsApp number, if you could send it to me so I can double check whether it's the video I'm looking for. There's a particular video that I am looking for that I saw quite a while ago. And those are the things. Remember, you know, even things like ivermectin. And because COVID is not over, it's still there. They've just gotten tired and moved to the next thing. They're now on climate change. One of the things you need to know is, by the way, in case you get COVID, please look for Dr. Wahomengari and pray for Dr. Wahomengari, because he'll be able to explain to you about the use of ivermectin and all that. She did it for my mom, and my mom was well within 2 hours, literally within 2 hours. Imagine a deworming medication, which Donald Trump allowed a doctor to speak about and was insulted, and the medics were angry at him and all that. And part of why Donald Trump was being removed was because he was exposing so many things, you know. And I'm not saying that he was doing the right things or whatever it is, because the black killings and all that were very, very high. But the fact of the matter is that there were, you know, things like you might want to read about pharmacologia. It's a whole conspiracy to control medications, to control things. Any doctors that try to speak up end up suffering a great penalty. There was this Dr. Karanja, who was the first person to begin to really speak about ivermectin. They infected him with COVID and he died. They just made sure that he died, you know? So, I mean, assassinations are real, by the way. And a lot of us, we operate with governments and look at governments assuming that governments are for us, and that's a good thing. But a lot of times there are very, very many weird things happening. So in case, you know, how do I know that COVID is still on? Because on a group that I'm in, I saw somebody asking about buying a drug. And when I looked at that drug, it was a drug that my dad was taking in ICU, a very expensive drug. And when I reached out, they said, yes, the person has COVID. So it's not at it gone. They're just not talking about it anymore. They feel they've gotten it under control. Please note, my husband took that jab, yeah, and took plus boosters and all that because he was required to with work. And immediately, my husband got onto high blood pressure medication and is still on high blood pressure medication. And we had overcome high blood pressure in him, but all of a sudden, it came right back. Because what happened with the jab, they had warned us initially that if you have an underlying condition, don't take it. If you're old, don't take it. That's what they had said. That was the true position. But then as the numbers were getting out of hand, they began to insist, oh, everybody must take it, everybody must take it. So my husband had been healed of high blood pressure when he was earlier. But then the moment he took it, I mean, suddenly his BP 140, 200, and it was, I mean, he has said truly, it's indeed the jab at the end of the day. And let me tell you what is hilarious about this jab, and not hilarious, it's just sad. There's nothing hilarious. So it's causing all these things. So that then if you in your bloodline you have cancer, but it hasn't come up, then all of a sudden it comes up, and it's coming up in a very hidden way. It is population control. So it's coming up in a very hidden way. And then all of a sudden when you're checked, you have no symptoms, there's nothing telling you anything, and you're told you're in stage 4. And it's just aggressive cancers that yani they're just defying treatment and all that. And let me tell you, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. So someone is saying, Nancy is saying, as we speak, farmers have seeds. To make it worse, even the one planted, they aren't flourishing. It's unfortunate. There you go. Yeah, they've already killed the seeds. So yes, you see the president saying, was in Gishu, we're going to have a market. We are going to have, you know, a world-class market to sell your things. But there are no farmers. Which farming are you seeing? When you drive through this country, which farming are you seeing? Yeah, you can see, I mean, this guy, whatever his name was, who was in agriculture and ends up selling fake fertilizer and those kind of things. And it's literally, let me tell you, as we are moving from environment, the next thing we are moving into, because it's conspiracies and people enriching themselves and making so much money. Whenever you see Bill Gates' name, please be worried, be concerned, because Microsoft, yes, he knew what he was doing, but beyond that, he's just moved into this very demonic thing where everywhere he goes into, he's just literally got a wicked agenda. It's not to solve the issues of the world. I don't know what beef he has with human beings, but just very, very demonic onslaught. So the next thing is going to be the issue of food. Food, hunger, food is unavailable, food is expensive and all that. In America, please note that either you eat the regular food, which is GMO, or you eat, they normally call it what? I forget what they call it. So when you're eating food that is natural, the way it tastes, even like in Kenya, it's more expensive. So those are the directions we are heading in. I don't know how they make them. I guess they use greenhouses or whatever to avoid population and all that. But things are thick. Things are thick. Food is an area that they're trying to control, and all of it is trying to move into the new world order. So we all need to be ready, and we all need to be aware that those are things that are taking place. Yeah. So GMO, if you want to check up in US, there's this company, Monsanto, and actually they have offices in Kenya. So I remember talking about Monsanto, and there was one of my congregants almost fainted because she was working there, and she was so upset and considered leaving organic food. She considered leaving church because she was so offended. How can I talk about the employer? But she stayed on and everything, and then the Lord just transitioned her anyway. And when you go and check up on Monsanto, just check. This is public knowledge. So notice I'm not talking about allegedly, because they have cases, and they have paid millions of money to settle things out of court and to get people to keep quiet, because yes, the food, because they are the main GMO company and the GMO selling company. And yeah, Evelyn, thank you for reminding me about livestock. They are doing it even with livestock. They are doing it with animals. Yeah. So, well, Enda, Eda, I know that there were rumors, but I hear that they've already done it. Because if you look back, Raila was actually, there's a video, a public video of Raila talking about GMOs and rallying people to support GMOs, okay? The first time GMOs were coming up. Ruto was also for GMOs, and GMOs are good. Remember, he said very proudly that he's been eating GMOs, na hata hajapata matiti, very arrogant. And then remember, this guy has a PhD in botany, so I don't even know what he's thinking or whatever, but he's cutting deals. That's the bottom line. Yeah, so we need to stop those things using the courts if we can find that the courts have not been compromised, because they've been compromising them quite a bit, unfortunately. Yeah, so we continue to pray, because there's always a remnant at the end of the day. Yeah, so yeah. Yep. Yeah, the next thing they're trying to do is just trying to introduce drought. We need to pray. We need to call on the name of the Lord. Revival must fall. We have no other way. We have no other choice. Revival must come. Revival must come. All right, God bless you guys. Mkae mkiniombea so that I can be able to, I'm not worried about passing my exams. There is one unit I'm worried about passing, but I want to pass well. I don't just want to pass, I want to pass well. So my worry is never that I'm not going to pass. I want to pass well. So I want to sit 7 exams, which are the highest number of exams that I can sit. And then, yeah, so I want to sit 7 exams, and then I have 7 more. So that will be a total of 14, in which case I'll be able to finish in December. So at the moment, 2 things, insolvency and trade law, but God will help me and find a solution for it. If you're in any of those fields of trade law or insolvency, yes, siwezi kumind katuition, yes, except for the men. Of course, if it's a man, we'll just have to do an online one in public spaces, yes. Yeah, but if there's a woman who trade law is easy for you and all that, and insolvency is easy for you to onge, so that we can be able to deal with them. But keep me in prayer. I normally get very many attacks. Even right now, there are such heavy attacks, ridiculous attacks, just when I'm about to sit for exams. Yeah, so God bless you all. It's been lovely spending the morning together. God bless you. And please don't forget about not bowing, and really the issue of just really pressing in for Kenya in terms of those little cracks that we are seeing. Let's minister to the nation of Kenya in prayer. And remember, at the end of the day, when we keep uplifting the name of the Lord is the one who's going to deal with the president. Let me tell you, here's the thing. The way God works, he's the one who puts leaders in place. He's the one who also removes those leaders. So let's look at these things so that we can be able to deal with them, and be aware that the Lord will deal with them. Whether he uses the hand of a man, but that is not us, but God will deal. God will deal. He is faithful. He's faithful. He's too faithful to fail us. He's the one who, at the end of the day, allowed for this man and actually told us to vote for this man. And at the end of the day, it is still him at the end of the day that we go back to, and we say, hey, God, we did what you told us to do. We voted for him. But here we are. Wameenda wakashikana na Raila. So whatever Raila was supposed to do, they were doing together. And now, they focused on doing them together. Yeah. So we pray. But yeah, they're in bed with each other. It's a fact. They clearly think we have nobody else that can run for office or can become president. So we keep on praying, we keep pressing in. If it is the will of God indeed, and the Lord speaks to me in a totally clear voice, then yes, I will vie for that presidential seat. Kwani wanafikiri ni nani? Tutaingia tu, so long as me, the Lord sends me at the end of the day. Amen. God bless you all. Stay peaceful. Remember, Kenya is not our leaders. Remember, Kenya is about Kenyans. It's about you and I. It's just a few rotten people, and we are good. At the end of the day, right now, it's just a few very rotten people who are in leadership. And as we go into elections, we can trust the Lord to give us an opportunity to have elections soon, not 2027, in a peaceable way, in a legal way, in a godly way. And that the Lord, we can begin to pray for the right people to vie, and for us to be able even to take our own people. And we ourselves need to begin to have conversations with people in the community. Start looking around in the community. If you can start having meetings, if you can start having meetings in your county, have meetings in your county, call meetings and have discussions, and start looking out for who can go and represent the people, not a party. And by the way, I want to encourage us to even move away from this party story. One of the things we need to do is boycott parties and just say, we don't want your parties. We're going to be independent candidates sent by our people. You can do that. We need to just stop this party thing, because it has failed even in USA. In USA, they have only 2 parties. And what happens in USA is that you're given the people. So who says that the people who are, are giving Trump, that's the only person they want to give? Who says that people are happy that that's who they want to give? Why do they feel that it's the only person they have to give? Part of what the party system does is that they force a candidate on you, because it's them who decide, and then they represent their parties. To end as independence, to ingia huko as independence. Then, because also my other great concern is, even if, as I say, that no, they haven't stopped. Hata leo asubuhi they were still on it, which is so flattering. Yeah, so yeah, it's flattering, but it's just upsetting. I mean, and part of what they do is that they interfere so much with the call until you can't even talk. It's intimidation. So I don't know whether they are following me as I drive around or move around. I stopped checking. Yeah, and I don't really drive per se. So and I hardly ever leave my house. Yeah, but they didn't stop. No, they've not stopped. And I guess they're just looking everywhere. And, yeah, they cannot figure out how I don't have money. Because I've been trying to check when I have money. And, God has just made sure that my businesses have not been doing as well as they used to do. But there's also a paper trail on everything. Yeah. So they haven't stopped. No, they haven't stopped. Because, of course, they're worried. They're worried. They're worried. They're worried. They're worried. Yeah. Anyway, Mungu awabariki. And yeah, let's please, wherever you are, you're asking, what do we do? Mobilize people. But we're going to start having X spaces. Yeah, we're going to start having X spaces and just having discussions as Christians, as a body of Christ, as a church, and having X spaces there. I don't know how it's done, but we'll find out. Yeah. Exactly, Debs. You don't have work. You don't have other crooks and people to sumbua. Yeah, so clearly. Yeah. Bless you.